And I think it might be advisable to let our American colleague go through whatever sort of social gambits he's been taught.
I always find Americans rather heavy-going.
What do you make of his dossier on Max Hughes?
Splendid as far as it goes, but it doesn't really tell one anything about Max.
Well, I happen to know that Seaton has never set eyes on him. The only occasion I met him was when I sent him to jail. You're the only one of us who really knows him.
He's very aggressive. He's very neurotic. He's an idealist.
And he's the perfect man for the job.
He's the only man for the job.
Yes, and apart from anything else, he is probably the only white man on Earth who would be acceptable to the present leaders in Africa.
He's certainly the only man I've ever met who made me quite unaware of the color of my skin. There is one thing I ought to mention. I'm telling you this in strict confidence.
Oh, my dear fellow, naturally.
Not for any of the files Seaton is compiling.
No, of course not.
It's a rather delicate matter. You probably saw in this file that Max Hughes got married in December 52. I was his best man, as a matter of fact. Oh, they had exactly 2 days of honeymoon, and Max, he just shut off.
Heavens, why?
They were in the mountains in Basutoland, and the chief of a tribe in what is now the southern Congo turned up. Now, he had walked right across the Rhodesias, the Transvaal, the Orange Free State to see Max. It had taken him 3 months.
But what for?
His tribe were in danger of being massacred. Oh, it's an involved story. But he thought that Max could help, which indeed he did. But Max left behind in Basutoland a young, impressionable, and a very frustrated bride.
Go on.
She didn't realize then she had married a completely dedicated man. To put it bluntly, she had an affair while Max was away.
One has heard of other cases.
The man's name is Tikili.
I don't think I've ever heard
He's
his name.
black. As black as my hat.
I mean, Max Hughes, he knows about this.
Oh, yes. And he was very angry with her, just as he would have been if she'd had an affair with a white man. And he very nearly broke Tikili's neck, just as he would have done with a white man. That's what I mean when I said he's the only man I've ever known who made me quite unaware of the color of my skin.
Yes?
Mr. Max Hughes is here, sir.
Look, he's far too early. Could you ask him to wait in the VIP room for a moment, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. If Hughes joins us before Seaton does, Seaton will suspect a conspiracy. It's in his nature, I'm afraid. Why did you tell me all that about Hughes' wife having an affair?
Oh, various reasons. If Seaton finds out about this, we must convince him his sources are mistaken.
Yes, of course.
You know, I'm sure he's as liberal as they come, but I doubt very much he'd tolerate his wife having an affair with a big buck nigger.
No.
Well, that's the crunch, you see. That's the real test. That's how you can tell what a man really feels about color.
Yes. Yes?
Mr. Bevis Seaton is here, sir.
Oh, splendid. Ask him to come in, would you please?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The only people in the world who knows about this are Max Hughes and his wife. She told me. Tikili and me. And now you. Nobody else.
I take your point.
Lord Brian, it's a great pleasure to meet you again.
Well, it was only 3 days ago.
And Chief Madola, how have you been keeping?
I'm fundamentally unchanged.
Fine.
Scotch?
Thank you. I see Mr. Hughes is waiting outside.
Yes.
Have you gentlemen managed to read the dossier?
Yes.
A remarkable achievement.
And my letter with suggested procedures for this meeting?
Yes. As I understand it, we let him talk before any sort of proposition is put to him.
No, I have a slight advantage over you two gentlemen, in that I know him very well. You imprisoned him. You have completed a dossier, a remarkable dossier, considering you have never met him. But I know him. Now, all I ask is that you overlook the fact that on first acquaintance he does seem the most impossible man on earth. Oh, he's so anxious to fight you. But when you get to know him...
We have the facts, Chief Madola.
Facts? Yes, I suppose we have the facts.
The most obvious one to me seems to be that our whole plan is dependent on him.
Sure, I accept that. But we're talking about something that's a hell of a lot more significant than any single man.
Yes, but dependent on him nonetheless.
As I've already said, I accept that. But once we're committed, we can't turn back. And the stakes are going up all the time. We can't afford another error of judgment.
Well, so long as he never realizes the full implications, I have no qualms.
The most important fact of all is that he is an idealist. Well, perhaps we all were when we were very young. But he still is, you see.
Well, this whole enterprise must never appear to be anything more than it is seen to be. Shall we have him in? Could you ask Mr. Hughes to come in, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Max Hughes. You know, I wish you two gentlemen had a clearer picture of him. You remember Martin Luther King saying, "I have a dream," before he was shot by someone who didn't share it. Max has a dream, too.
Jimmy.
Hello again, Max.
How do you do, sir? My name's Bevis Seaton. This is the first time we've met, but I've heard a lot about you.
How do you do?
And I'm Bryant.
Lord Bryant.
Some men have greatness thrust upon them.
We've met before, haven't we?
Once.
Yes, once.
To be fair, Mr. Hughes, while I did indeed have you put in prison, I also had you released again at the earliest possible moment.
But I hadn't committed any crime, had I?
Oh, I never said you had. I put you in prison for your own protection. It said so on your papers.
It wasn't me that needed protecting. It was the people who were starving.
No, and the traders who were hoarding the food, they needed protection against you.
In that case, why didn't you jail them?
Well, I made a bargain. You went